Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is FirstReactionTv. My name is J-Mart. Please take 2 seconds and subscribe to the channel. The next 25 subscribers will receive a free gift. I really appreciate it, and subscribing only takes 2 seconds, and it means a lot to new channels, trying to start out. Anyway, thank you for that. And what we're going to watch here today is just kind of a little bit of coverage of Joe Biden that was really never, at least from my point of view, before the 2020 election, just what wasn't shown, or it wasn't talked about, or during that time period with COVID going on, and it's Donald Trump versus Joe Biden running for president, and everyone wanted things to go back to normal. Everyone wanted the safe choice, and I truly think that that's what this election was decided on. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that, really, that Joe Biden just seemed like the safe choice for everyone, like those people in the middle that weren't that aren't fringe, on the right side, and fringe on the left. They just they wanted everything to get back to normal, and I think that's what they thought they were getting with Joe Biden, because Donald Trump was a liar, a racist, a this, a that, and just the absolute negative media coverage that Trump did receive, especially over the 4 years of his presidency, that everyone thought Biden was the safe choice. And the more time that goes on here, there's so much about Joe that I didn't know about, I wasn't aware of, and to me, I was like that average voter. I was that one that was like, man, I'm not far on the fringe on either side. I want everything to go back to normal. I'm worried about the future of the country. I'm worried about the future of my family and myself, and I wanted things to go back to normal too. And now it's like, man, there's just, we'll watch the video, and you guys can have your opinions from there.
Question: what law school did you attend, and where did you place in that class? And the other question is, could you quickly? I think we.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do. I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. In the first year in law school, I decided I didn't want to be in law school, and ended up in the bottom 2/3 of my class, and then decided I wanted to stay, went back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only need 123 credits.
Wow.
I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
If I could say one thing,
man,
I think just in my own.
Joe Biden's definitely smarter than this guy, man. And Joe really wants to, compare IQs apparently. So I guess they're going to whip them out and measure each other's IQs on the table there.
I'm not questioning your IQ at all. I'm just saying that with the people that we have elected to office in recent years, I think that we have to question their credentials very solidly.
Well, I think you're right, Frank. But you know what I find kind of interesting? It seems to me if you can speak, you're at a liability in the Democratic Party anymore. It seems to me you've all become heartless technocrats. It seems to me that you forget that what happens is we have never as a party moved this nation by 14-point position papers and 9-point programs. It seems to me that when we got involved in the civil rights movement, Frank, nobody asked Martin Luther King what his legislative agenda was. He marched to change attitudes. When the women's movement started, it did not move with a constitutional amendment. They marched to change attitudes. And this party better understand full well that it's about time we change our attitude and we begin to change the attitudes of Americans about what their responsibilities are to the poor, about what their responsibilities are to other people, and about what our responsibility in the world is. And that requires changing attitudes. But Frank, I promise you, you'll see my 15-point plans and 19-point position papers, and you'll be able to make a judgment when Gary Hart and I stand there. Who knows more about foreign policy, Gary or me? And when you see that Dick Gebhardt and I stand there, you'll be able to make a judgment whether Dick Gebhardt or I know more about economic policy. But ultimately, Frank, this country needs a leader, and leaders change attitudes about people. And it's the ironic twist that in the wake of Ronald Reagan, that the only one thing he knew how to do was the one thing that is now being the currency of which is in fact being devalued so much.
What did he just say? Oh, oh, dude, I'm sorry. Dude, what did he just say? What is being asked is now being the currency of which is what is now devalued.
Was the one thing that is now being the currency of which is in fact being devalued so much.
Well, he was on a tear there. And, up until that point, I would have voted for Joe. I mean, hell, top of the class. You know, has full scholarship and changed, just what a brilliant man. I mean, he's the right leader, right? Especially in 2020, this has to be the man that, we vote for, except for, like, this Kamala Harris absolute word salad at the end here where none of that made any sense. He's got to be the guy, right? Right?
Presidential candidate Joseph Biden today faces a controversy. 3 weeks ago at a debate at the Iowa State Fair, he used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all to his famous British speechwriter.
I was thinking on the way over here. Now that's a little too much, because as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people are wrapped on.
And just to, kind of make an obvious point here, this is 1988 with people talking to each other, sharing the news, not telling you what you need to think, what you need to believe, and that if it's blue, no matter what, we're right. And this is what news used to be, and I think this is what people are absolutely craving now. Just if you turned on the news and you saw people just like yourself sitting there having a conversation with each other, whether it's good or bad, whether it affects your political person or the person that you're rooting for to win, you're still at least honest about it.
On Biden has always been that it's just a surface.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock,
You think?
it's the only time I didn't.
Oh.
All the times I've ever used it.
But CBS News found a tape of a second instance.
It reappeared in the New York Times with a new charge, that Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children,
The health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted five.
So far, he's been caught plagiarizing his papers in law school. Plagiarized all his speeches, basically. Came out first and said that, well, any political thought was at least, someone else has had that thought at the same time, so it's not plagiarizing, if two people have the same thought. But then he gets called out again, and he has an explanation. It was the only time I didn't give him credit, he says.
5 pages of someone else's work wwithout proper citation.
Oh,
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
he was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
To the political community in Washington, it all seems of a piece. Plagiarism at law school, plagiarism on the stump.
The great communicator. Strike that. The great imitator.
You don't steal verbatim, or when you do, as he did 99% of the time, you give credit.
Biden's critics say he sells himself as a man whose words and visions can inspire a new generation in politics. But if the thoughts, phrases, and visions really belong to others, it's a form of false advertising.
Is it a wise idea, though, to take something that personal, anyway, from another politician and try and appropriate it to your own campaign?
I think it was a stupid thing to appropriate material that was really very personal, that was someone else's.
Most people didn't know who he was, you know, Joe Biden, and now they're going to say, oh yeah, he's the guy who plagiarized.
That's a lot of people.
Politically, that's devastating.
These clips are devastating. He looks like a Joe Biden wind-up doll with somebody else's words coming out.
Oh my
If
goodness.
they're going to do things that are stupid as well as immoral, then they're probably too dumb to have the job of president.
Voters are going to have to decide whether he was dishonest or dumb.
Senator Joseph Biden may have more explaining to do.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
Oh, you know what? This kind of looks like that other video, you know, where he's having that conversation, you know, measuring IQs with a voter that, you know, asked him a simple question. And he wanted to make sure, you know, Joe wanted to make sure that, you know, that guy in the audience knew that he wasn't as smart as Joe. That, you know, sure seems like that, you know, elite thought process all over again. Kind of seems like the old or the new Democratic Party, doesn't it?
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76.
So going back to this poor guy that asked him a question, that Joe felt that he needed to measure his IQs with him. There wasn't a single thing that he said that was true. Not a single thing. Like, he didn't say like a half-truth or like, you know, a little bit of it. Like, nothing. Nothing was true. The dude flat up just invented an entire story. Joe Biden is the first person to come up with his truth and his reality. We're all just living in Joe Biden's truth. Not the truth, not reality or the reality, but Joe Biden's truth. He just decided, hell, maybe this is where trans started. Oh my goodness. I get it now. This is where trans began. This is it. He felt like he got a full scholarship. He felt like he was the top of his class. He felt like he had a better or a bigger or larger IQ than the gentleman in the audience. So those were his feelings. So, hell, let's just tell everyone I feel like this, and it must be true, right? Joe Biden, the inventor of transitioning. Joe Biden was the first person to transition to his truth.
6th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Joe Biden was victimized by the truth.
Bye, Biden. You may not know it yet.
He said he was victimized by the truth. Oh, dude, that was great. That was great. Man, we have the first trans person in 1988, and now I think we just saw the first troll in 1988.
But I think this is going to be very difficult for him to recover.
Is Joe Biden dead meat, yes or no?
I think so.
Bob?
It's in terminal condition.
Terminal. Eleanor?
Yes, unless he comes in third in Iowa.
Morton?
Dying.
I say dead. We'll be right back.
Oh my. Look, dude, that's brutal. And here's just where, like, I'm trying to think, like, how to touch on this, but do you guys really think that someone like that changed? Someone that was, even back then in 88, I mean, hell, the man would have been, you know, in his 50s at least. Do you really think at that point in his life that all of a sudden he was just going to become a new man and be honest with the people and be truthful and be looking out for other people whenever this guy is so obsessed with just making up his own reality? Like, that's the person who we thought was going to get us back to normal. This is the person who we thought would come in, settle things down, work with both sides, you know, like he said. And I think this just has been an absolute fraud. You know, even, you know, whenever Biden came out and said about, you know, you're not black if you don't vote for me, the way he pandered to, you know, minority voters, and he's for the little guy, and he's going to help out the little person and all this. Like, what minority community in this country right now is better off than they were under Donald Trump as president? And, like, that's a serious question. And if someone's looking at it honestly, like, please tell me. Because, like, not only minority communities, but the little guy, you know, I'm a little guy. I'm the little guy. So I know how things are right now. I know how expensive everything is at the grocery store. How expensive, you know, school supplies and stuff for, you know, a child are. Like, it's on the verge of poverty, you know, like, that's how bad and expensive things are right now. And, like, this is the guy that was our savior, and now he, even being in office, he's literally telling us the economy's great. Everything's going good. I'm the best president there ever was. I passed more things than this. Like, is anyone living that reality? Or is that just another Joe Biden reality? The Joe Biden's in the White House and his life is great and he can get on a jet and go wherever he wants and his life is made. Like, that's Joe Biden's reality. But every American citizen, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, there is no way that that's our reality. It's not. And I mean, this isn't partisan rhetoric. Like, this is just, it's not true. Like, it's not true. Things are not better off right now. Things aren't even close to good. Things are bad. And this is the guy, man. Like, I feel like, I never saw coverage like this, you know, from the media. I never knew Joe Biden was this person. I never knew Joe Biden was literally called Biden Ben Lion or whatever that one lady said. And, like, just stuff like that, man. It is so funny how CNN, MSNBC, and they propped all this stuff up, but, like, where was all this coverage, man? Like, there had to have been tons of people out there that knew this stuff, man. Like, had to have been. The type of person he was, and, like, look, a plagiarist, a liar, an egomaniac, like, those are the worst things and the worst qualities you could have in anybody, let alone the President of the United States. And I feel like that, you know, even, like, this is myself, my truth. I feel like we all got, you know, hoods pulled over our heads, and I think it's been the biggest trick in American politics, you know, in the last however many years. I think they absolutely tricked us, fooled us, You know, they played the race card. They called everyone racist. And if you didn't vote for Joe, then you were obviously and automatically a MAGA racist. So, like, they tricked and fooled people into voting for them just based off of that premise, you know. And then you had the student debts. I mean, it's unfortunate, man. It's absolutely unfortunate that this is the guy we chose to get our country back to normal and to unite us. Someone who can't even have an honest conversation with someone in a small pub and tell them the truth. That's the guy we chose to run our country, and to think that he has our best interests at heart. My name is Jay Mart. This is First Reaction TV. I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, share. The next 25 subscribers, I'll send you guys a free gift. So please subscribe, leave a comment with your info, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.